Flight Path, the podcast where we explore the journeys behind bold leadership, innovation, and lasting impact. Each episode, we sit down with leaders, innovators, and rule breakers who built their success by doing the work, learning the lessons, and sometimes ignoring the map altogether. Whether you're navigating leadership, healthcare, technology, entrepreneurship, or simply trying to figure out what's next without losing your mind, you're in the right place. Before we take flight, we'd like to thank our sponsor, eFax, helping businesses and professionals stay connected with secure, convenient document sharing. Fax online with eFax. Now fasten your seatbelts, adjust your altitude, and get ready for stories, insights, and conversations that just might change your course. Welcome aboard. This is Flight Path.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Flight Path presented by Bluebird Leaders. Today we have Heather Zuhn, who is coming to us from Colorado, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yay. Where exactly in Colorado?
In Denver.
Okay, awesome. Welcome. Bluebird is going to do an event in Colorado in 27, so we'll keep that a little bit under wraps because we're still narrowing down the location, but we're coming back to you.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do today?
Yeah. So I am a senior manager of Epic inpatient applications at Denver Health, the safety net hospital here in Denver. So I have a team of analysts that kind of cover the full spectrum of clinical applications. And then I am also president-elect of the Nursing Informatics Association, which is a national nursing professional organization. And we have about 3,000 members, and we get together for a national conference every year. And our national conference next year, when I will be president, will be in San Francisco, March 11th through the 13th. So I'm doing a lot of preparation for that as well.
All right, well, you jumped right to it. So Bluebird is actually going to be part of that next
Yep.
year. Why don't you tell us a little bit, dig in a little bit more about the conference? What do you do? What's the, high level agenda? What do people look forward to the most? All that stuff.
Yeah. So we have a number of great keynotes that we've lined up. I don't necessarily want to share who they are, but we're
That's okay.
focused on um, kind of leaders in nursing informatics at local to San Francisco. So highlighting what they're doing there and how they're innovating. And then also a little bit of a focus on sort of the vendor side. So thinking about how nurses are involved in differing technology companies
Mhm.
and how they keep their voices heard and sort of represent us as a community of nurses in the technology space, but then also kind of advocating for how we on the hospital side or clinic side can be advocating for our staff when evaluating new technologies.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one big focus that we have. We have a panel of nurses that we hope the abstract gets accepted, but a panel of nurses that are nurse leaders in technology companies. So that'll be really great. And then my other focus is I tried to promote a number of people to submit abstracts that are from more interdisciplinary standpoints. I think one of the things that I have really appreciated about being in Bluebirds is sort of I feel like I'm getting a much wider lens of spectrum in healthcare IT. And in the nursing community, sometimes we get really narrowly focused on nursing, but as we all know, it's so
Everybody.
interdisciplinary.
Yeah.
We're all so overlapping. And so we do have a panel of kind of representing different voices in informatics. So thinking about pharmacy, physicians, nursing, and then our colleagues that have been really embedded in healthcare IT but don't have a clinical background. And
Mhm.
how do we kind of work together and hear those voices
Right.
um, and think of each other, and
Yeah.
advocate for each other.
Excuse me. I think it's happening more, or I enjoy seeing it happen more, where, we first installed EHRs and we didn't really ask you all what you cared about it. It was just like,
Mhm.
here, figure out how to use it and also
Hmm.
take care of the patient and put a smile on your face at the same time. Thank you. And
Yeah.
all us
Yeah.
IT people would like walk away into our closed, like lockdown, office by the morgue. But I think it's it's changing, and so I think the role of the CIO has changed. I think the role of the organizations has changed. We also have so much IT everywhere that we really need to hear the people on the ground's opinions on before we go and change stuff. So these steering
Yep.
committees and everything that people might roll their eyes at sometimes, it's like it's so needed.
It
It
is.
also is so needed just to help with the change management, right? That's
Yes.
you bring on a
Yes.
new software and or tool, and it's like if they heard about it 6 months ago when you started kind of talking about it, it would, and then brought them along, it might be better
Yes.
accepted, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Are you all on the nursing front hearing just as much as AI as I am? Are you using ambient listening? What other like AI, tools would you just love to see, even if it's not even created yet? What do you guys chat
Yeah.
about? Do you hate
Yeah. I we so,
it?
somewhere in between. We, on the nursing side, both from my Denver Health lens and my ANIA lens, we're hearing so much about it. Um, I think from more of the national level, what we're sort of looking at is literacy in AI and making sure that our frontline clinicians actually understand what it means
Mhm.
and how they're interacting with it, because you have to be informed consumers in order to and understand, kind of trying to promote the understanding that your 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 clinical judgment is not being replaced by these tools. These are tools. It's clinical decision support, right? And so we're really trying to make sure that we do education, and get standards for education out there, both at the academic level, but then also for sort of continuing education.
Yeah.
And then at my facility, we are we are sort of, as a safety net, we don't have as much funding for those kinds of things. So we have we have ambient listening for our clinic providers,
Mhm.
but we don't have any of those tools yet for nursing. So
Uh-huh.
we are starting to explore some of that, based on what our EHR vendor has available. Um, but we are really, I think our facility on the provider side, and then it's going to be on the nursing side too, is really focused on validating the tools. I think that's kind of the key to, like, what you kind of mentioned previously. We're being bombarded with so much.
Mhm.
It's kind of like we need clinicians to validate the tools to ensure that they are appropriate and actually beneficial.
Yeah.
Because if they're not beneficial, then it's sort of like, oh, wasting time and money. So,
Right.
how do we teach people now how to validate tools and take the time to validate them and measure the benefits? So,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be some changing of the guard too, right, in terms of generation and what the younger crowd of clinicians are going to want or expect.
mhm,
I'm doing some advisory work for an organization here on the East Coast, and we had a whole conversation this morning actually about how what if the ambient listening, and I'm sure it's happening somewhere, is just giving the provider a whole up note of like, and this is what you usually say, this is what I heard you say, and this is what I suggest that you use with the codes that you should use, right?
yeah,
But those providers are used to just going in the microphone for 3 minutes and then hitting accept. So now,
yeah,
like you're saying, has to change their whole mind frame. Now they actually are
mhm,
are reading what AI has generated, which I could actually see could take them a little bit longer than just going blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah, blah, right into a microphone
yeah,
quick and then knowing what they said is true. So yeah, it's a whole mind switch 180.
yeah. And we are a teaching facility, so you have to think about
Mm.
teaching, and teaching the next generation of clinicians not to be reliant on these things.
Yeah.
You know, we're to the point where it's like, even even my generation of nurses are when you talk about paper charting, we're like, "Oh no.
What do
Oh
I do?
no."
Yeah.
So, yeah, and so imagine now the next generation coming in with all these AI tools. How
Mhm.
how do you then teach them this is how you would do this without those tools, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, because it's not when the next hack's gonna happen or the downtime, like, it will happen at some point,
Yep.
and you're gonna have yeah. No, it's a great call out, even more with the AI as it the next 5 years, you're gonna become
Yep.
even more reliant on it. What else is happening in nursing aside from AI and IT? Like, is there any new cool like tool or product that is like really help it? Even if it's like, I don't know, I'm not clinical, right? So like a new syringe came out or a new glove, like what what's
Yeah.
like the big shiny tool that nurses are like either excited about or want?
I think, and this isn't necessarily new as of right this moment, but it's been really ramped up in the last couple of years is virtual nursing. So,
Mm,
finding ways to um, uh, make the day-to-day efficiency better for
mhm,
our bedside nurses. And also I've understood that we see some better clinical outcomes by
mhm,
having the virtual nursing model because you have an ICU nurse sitting, watching very closely how vitals are looking and,
mhm,
watching kind of our predictive model alerts to assess how accurate they are to sort of trigger that cascade then versus relying on the bedside ICU nurse to be
mhm.
like, you know, that head in the weeds while also doing direct patient care.
Yeah.
So, that's something that we also are starting to look at for our facility. Aren't quite there yet, but I know that that is something that we continue to talk about and continue to hear about. And it's an interesting, it's also an interesting place for nurses to go. When I think about nursing and how most people are like, oh, to be a nurse is
Mhm.
to work in a hospital,
At the
have
bedside.
6 patients a day at the
Yeah.
bedside, or be in a clinic, and that's what it is to be a nurse. But we have so many different paths we
Mhm.
can take that virtual nursing is one that I think can kind of open things up to people and give them some different options,
Yep.
to still utilize their skills.
Yeah, I also just see it giving you guys a break from the bedside, right? Because that's
Mhm.
so maybe it's a bold question or I'm opening a can of worms. Do you see that now all this virtual nursing is coming and if something is triggered, right, high blood pressure, whatever it might be, it'll just message your phone or whatever item you have attached to your hip. Now you're going to be expected to take on more patients because you'll be notified if something is happening virtually.
Yeah, I have not seen that
Okay.
actually.
Well, good.
It I think is more the evaluation that is being done, from what I've seen, has been based more on patient outcomes as
Mm,
well as staff satisfaction because and
okay.
burnout. Particularly post COVID, burnout is such a big deal that is the focus more than that, which is great. And I
Yeah.
hope it doesn't turn in that direction.
Yeah, I don't know why my head just like went there. I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
God, we cannot
it's
put any
logical. Yeah.
more. We cannot put any more on these nurses, but is this like a way to oh, I hope not. I hope it doesn't go that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't cover like how you got to be where you are. Like you grew up and you chose nursing. What like
Yeah.
like did someone or something inspire you? Like I grew up and there's no way I would like be
Uh-huh.
able to do what you all do. I think I know enough clinical to be dangerous, but I will always be your IT support. But like putting IVs in, and I'm like, I'll just pass out. So how did you get
Yeah.
there? How did you choose nursing? Yeah,
Um,
tell us your story.
yeah. So, oddly enough, I started out, actually targeting being a veterinarian, and, w went down that path, in undergrad and worked in animal hospitals and boarding kennels and, I kind of realized one day that I liked working with the people even more than the animals,
Okay.
love both, but
Yeah.
that sort of helped me sort of pivot into nursing. And I also, my aunt is a nurse, and my grandfather on the other side of the family was a medic in the army. And so I had both of those influences there,
Yeah.
um, that kind of transitioned me into nursing. And then um, at once I got to nursing school, I did work as a phlebotomist. So that was, great times, great
Yep.
times. And then in between nursing school years, I did an internship, and I ended up getting placed in the operating room. And I I will never forget that first day for my internship, getting my tour of the OR, and I had this look on my face where the manager was like, what's wrong? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm just so excited right now." Like,
Oh, I love
I was surrounded by so much technology. I'm like, "What are these machines? What are they doing? This is so cool." And so that's when I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to do surgery. So
Okay.
I ended up then my my most I got to rotate up through specialties and realized heart surgery was where I wanted to be. So, I got a job. My job straight out of nursing school was at Duke in North Carolina, um, doing cardiothoracic surgery. So I learned how to circulate and scrub. So I would actually be, sterile at the table, assisting the surgeons.
Mhm.
Um, and we were doing, again, thinking about technology and innovation. It was just, that place was magical.
Yep. Yeah.
I saw some crazy, crazy stuff in a wonderful way. What they were
Yeah.
doing was incredible. Um, so ended up moving here to Denver and worked at a community hospital here, still in heart surgery. And that was my turning point of kind of realizing, um, we had a homegrown EHR at Duke at the time, and then we had the older version of not the oldest, but one of the older versions of Meditech.
Not the Pac-Man
Not
kind, but
not
the
the
yeah.
no, not the Pac-Man, but the next one.
Yeah.
And in both of those spaces, I realized I had kind of become the person that all the nurses were coming to
Mhm.
for how to efficiently use the EHR.
Mhm.
What are the shortcuts? What's the most efficient way to kind of do my charting so that I don't spend half my day doing it? And that was when I kind of realized, oh, this
This
is
is
the blending, right?
yeah.
Technology, really enthusiastic about that, but then also making things more efficient for nurses was a big deal for me. So that's when I started my master's in nursing informatics here at CU around that time. And that sort of transitioned me out of the OR. Um, I had a short stint at Catholic Health Initiatives working with critical access hospitals and teaching them about meaningful use and how they were doing that. So that was very short.
Mhm.
Um, then I got hired here at Denver Health, to be on their implementation team. Um, so started there and um, worked as an uptime analyst. So I sort of, blended the two,
Yeah.
and then um, got promoted into leadership about 5 years ago. So
That's
that's
awesome.
that's my path.
What's, like, one surgery that, like, stood out, while you were there in the OR that you're like, "Oh my god,
I
I
have
don't know."
two.
Okay.
I have
I
two.
I know everybody always has one, that's an yeah. Alright, go.
So
What do you got?
so I had my favorite thing to do to scrub was ventricular assist devices. So it's people with heart failure, and we would go in and put this pump inside their chest that literally would circulate their blood for them. I just there was
So
something
cool.
about the mechanics of sort of preparing the devices and then seeing how they worked that just really was like amazing to me. So those and my honestly, my favorite surgeon was the one that did them
Did it?
most
Yeah.
frequently. So I was, it was, yeah, a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And then, so that was my favorite. And then the most amazing thing I saw was a heart. So they call it a block. So it's a heart and lung transplant at the same time. So this person had a heart, lung, and liver transplant in one surgery.
Like a whole new
So
body. This is
yes,
crazy.
so I literally we put them on bypass and or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
And like the heart and lungs were out of the body. So imagine seeing just it
Whoa.
was it's it's crazy. So
That that's wild. Like, I mean, when I stop and think, I'm like, okay, yeah, we're doing it. But then you're explaining it. I'm like, holy shit, like we're doing that.
yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. And then that person, like, are they okay? Or you
I
might not
believe
even
so.
know.
I
Yeah.
I don't I don't
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
I believe I mean, I know that that procedure went well when it happened, so
Yeah. It's
yeah.
it yeah, it's wild. It's wild, but I know, my, like, a silly story, but I had a C-section for my first, my oldest, my Linny, and, I went in and, they have, like, the drape and the OR lights are so and I'm nervous, right? New mom, so my eyes are
Yeah.
closed. I'm, like,
Yeah.
just trying to, like, stay calm, and they're doing the C-section thing, and I open my eyes, and my husband is, like, leaning over, and he's like, "This is awesome." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, now my heart and lungs were not, like, lifted out of the
Yeah.
body, but, like, a lot was, like,
Yes.
coming up,
Yes.
and I'm like, "Oh my god, you're crazy." And they thought he was gonna pass out, but, he did not.
No,
So,
he was
um,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I guess he should be a surgeon in his next life, but,
Yes.
it's crazy. So, well, anything else you want to add? I do have to ask you what your superpower is, which is what we, always
Ooh,
the superpower, what are you giving back? I know you do a lot with your organization, but what would be your superpower that you're, bringing to Bluebird leaders?
I think, you know, I I hear a lot of inspiring stories from women, and I think what comes to mind, and this is it's maybe a little selfish, but I feel like my superpower is my energy and my ability to kind of track on a lot of different things.
Mhm.
Um, I I finished my doctorate when I did my doctorate while working full time and had my daughter in that same time. So, so I had a 1-year
Oh,
old
great.
at like her life, 0 to 1. That first year was the year that I basically did my thesis.
Oh my god.
So, so you think about while working full time, and then sometimes I think back to that and I'm like, huh.
What was I thinking?
And people are like, how? And I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
But I think that that points to the superpower, which is sort of I thrive on having a number of things and keeping them going. And
Mhm.
I think that allows me to really be out there for our community and helping and you know reaching out to people because I sort of uh, can keep it all there,
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so
I
yeah,
get it.
I yes, I know these.
I get it. I get told that all the time. How do you do all this? Or I have a new administrative assistant. She's just like, oh my God, your calendar,
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, I get it. But
But
then it's
to
just you're
thrive on
giving
it,
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
to thrive on it versus getting overwhelmed by it is its
Yeah.
own superpower, right?
Right. Right.
If
Well,
I don't have enough, I'm kind of then I go into like sloth mode. It's
yeah.
weird. Like
100%. Or I'm not traveling for the month of May, and I know by May 31st, I know, right?
you'll be
But I'm gonna be like, "When's my next flight?" And
yeah,
twitching, but yeah, I don't know. For me, I love what I do, and I love helping other people and
yeah,
everybody soar and being that, like, epic connector, so
yeah,
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 like you, same. Well, thanks so much for your
yeah.
time. Thanks for being on the
Thank you.
podcast. Can't wait to
Yes,
see you soon.
yes. Thank you so much.